Welcome back, Poggers, to another episode of Season 2 of the Pog State for 2021. I'm Atlas, joined by the regular crew of LCK commentators, plus Jeonghyun is back for the second season. Woohoo! Heck yeah. We're going to be talking about some LCK memes. We're going to be having a lively debate, which is not going to get personal whatsoever, I guarantee you. And then we're going to eat some more delicious treats, courtesy of Jeonghyun. And this time, it's going to be much better. So, without further ado, Pog State! 시작하겠습니다! Jeonghyun, welcome back. How's things been? How's the new and improved LoL Park now that we actually have more humans in it?
I don't know though, because I don't know. For me, it's more work. I've been busy because now we have to do the interview and then like we have to do this AS corner and stuff. But it's been fun and it does feel more lively. So there's like a lot of voices back to it, and we see a lot of like, you know, I don't know what you guys call it in English.
Cheerfuls?
Yeah, cheerfuls. And those are really fun. And for me, it's all new. So I'm pretty much enjoying it, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited about the cheerfuls being back as well, because Chronicler and I have been trying to learn Korean, and I'm realizing that it hasn't worked yet at all, because with the cheerfuls come up and there's a whole lot of writing, and we're like, huh?
Especially
Wolf,
with
Valdes?
the new meme being where you just write in tiny letters like
yeah,
a bajillion things in a row.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of that.
I don't know about that meme. I'm big
That
on
one's
that
helpful
meme.
for us, because
all
we
the same.
understand
Yeah,
it. It's the
that's
same
right.
thing over and over again. Repetition is all about our learning process, so
True.
nailed it. That's brilliant. But Jeonghyun, this is actually the first time that you've done the interviews as well, because the interviews were done by the casting desk, and you sort of came in right as the pandemic was hitting and no interviews. So it must be like really weird sort of having to adjust to something that I assume everybody else, like all of our audience, are like, oh yes, Jeonghyun's just going back to doing interviews now, but actually it's sort of like the first time. Is it being weird?
It is weird. And for me, it's like so much pressure and it's so scary because I don't want to make any mistakes. But, you know, it is a lot more enjoyable now that I get to talk to the players in person.
Yeah.
So there's no awkward pauses. There's no like, you know, weird voices just echoing around in background. And, you know, like I get to look them in the face and really like read their faces.
Like actually
So yeah,
interact,
before, because like I didn't know if Spirit last season was trying to not laugh or he was crying. So I couldn't really tell because it was like through the screen, right? So I was like, okay, what the heck is going on? But now like I don't have to worry about those, and it's just like I get to build relationships and have human talks.
Yeah,
you know?
and so off the back of that, who has been the best interviews so far? Who are the players that you're like hoping play really well so you get to interview them again, not including Dove because of his amazing voice?
I think Khan is like really perfect for interviews because he just like, you know, he knows why I'm asking certain questions. So he just goes into it and gives like such extended answers that I don't really have to like ask extra questions.
You're not begging
And-
for the info with him. He just knows like
Yeah,
how
he
to
just
answer.
he just goes, "Oh," just spill it all out, and I'm just like, okay, thank you.
Yep, good. Sort of, he's been practiced. The man's been around for a while.
And I hope that he never leaves. He's not allowed to go. It's not allowed.
You've also been very busy on the English side of things as well, with the new SNL in English,
Yeah.
which is super cool. How has that been? You sort of go from doing all of this work in Korean and then all of a sudden have to switch the English brain back on. Has it been weird?
It has been weird. Everything has been weird. This season's
That's
been
been
weird
like every one
for
of my
me.
questions, so I think I've kind of, you know, that's fine.
Because, like, you know, I do LCK weekly newsfeed, and for me, it's really, really weird because I don't really watch the news
Yeah, right.
in Korean or in English. So for me, like, doing news stuff makes me feel so very, like, news-ish. But that's all weird because I don't watch news.
Yeah, I don't know whether many of us do. When was the last time you gentlemen watched the news?
I mean, I watch the news
you're a
pretty
bit of
regularly.
you're a news guy. I don't watch. I read the news. I don't
Yeah,
watch
me
it.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe like around election time.
Yeah.
That's basically it for, you know, big.
I count that
global-
more like watching drama though.
Yeah, I guess it's not really the news.
I mean, generally the news at any time feels like that most of the time for me. Watching Korean news is really interesting because it helps me like study and learn higher level vocabulary. But I did weekly with you yesterday, the Korean one, and I thought you were fantastic at it. I was really impressed. Like the way the show looks, when you watch it online, is totally different than actually watching you literally read it out, do retakes, and actually nail it every time. It's like me and the other guy who are like a little bit nervous. Like sometimes we have to retake, but you just like hit it every time. I was really impressed.
That's why I got paid to do it, so. That's how I keep my job.
You have to remember that we all still have jobs as well, though. So
Yeah, and I don't really get.
apparently you
that
don't
half
need
the
to be
time.
that good. You know?
So Jeonghyun, has there ever been an interview where you felt like, ooh, this isn't going so well? Like, how do I handle this? Maybe with like a nervous player. Like, how have you handled that so far?
I actually want to tell you about this funny interview with Delight, because when I interviewed Lava for the first time, he was like, okay, Delight was really nervous because it was his first time playing in the arena. And then when I actually got to interview Delight, he was so nervous that he was shaking. He didn't know where to stand and stuff. And usually, it's like a routine question when you start the interview, like, congratulations on the win. Then the players say, thank you, right? So I go, okay, congratulations on the win. And then Lava, or was it Lava? Yeah, Lava
Probably.
goes,
He's got a lot of points. So it makes
Lava
sense.
goes, okay, thank you. But then Delight was like, 안녕하세요. 승리 축하드립니다.
안녕하세요. 감사합니다.
I don't even know what that means. So he's basically saying like, hello, right? Yeah. Okay, so I was like, I thought that was funny. So I was like, okay, how do you feel about today's win? And then he goes, I'm sorry, like I didn't get the question, right? So I asked him again, and then he's like, I'm sorry. So he couldn't understand the question because he was so nervous. Yeah. 오늘의 승리 어떤 의미일까요, 딜라이트 선수?
다시 말씀드리시.
오늘의 승리가 어떤 의미일까요?
일단
And then Lava went ahead and kind of like acted as a translator, and he's like, okay, how do you feel about today's game? And then, I don't know, Delight started answering it, but it was really funny because he was shaking all the time and stuff.
He actually, well, like watching the interview, he did warm up towards the end. But yeah, the beginning was definitely pretty weird.
You know what's funny though? After the interview, he was like, oh my God, I've done so bad. And my friend came here to see me, right? And I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. You got POG interview. Where is he? And he's like, I don't know, can't find him. It's like, I failed to find him, so I'm not going to wave my hands at him. And then he just went away.
This needs to just be a long-standing joke that like nothing's ever going right for Delight.
Yeah, exactly. He can just be the Eeyore of the LCK.
It's like, you missed the team van ride home. Like, where's the rest of my team? Oh, they left already.
Oh, poor guy.
Left alone at home or something. Like he's the Home Alone of the LCK.
We need to see a picture of the light with like the home of the
That would be a pretty good meme.
It's just like the light just being left behind.
I think his face would be perfect for it too. For some reason, it just works out. I don't know.
Do you know what also works out? We can now move over to our meme section of the show. Of course, Jeonghyun's back. That means the memes segment is back. Wolf and Jeonghyun were doing fantastically well last season. Wolf, do you have any favorites from this week?
I mean, everybody wants to talk about the C1 or the Siwon Hada that Summit said.
야 시원하다.
After beating T1. So just to kind of explain that for everybody, because you guys have probably seen it in Twitch chat and you've probably heard about it. Even Westerners I've seen have posted it on like Reddit and community sites. So Siwon Hada is to like basically to feel nice or to feel cool or to feel refreshed. So it was basically Summit just saying like, I feel so good we took that win. But the way he said it almost made it seem like it was kind of easy. Like it feels good to like crush T1. So that's kind of been a meme that's been shortened to C1 because Siwon Hada, C1, very similar. And C you would say like she in Korean. So there you go. That's the explanation on that one. I think it's a pretty funny meme.
I think it's funny too, although it kind of feels like an
sad,
upgrade. Because if you're thinking about it as a grading system, A is the best.
Oh, okay.
And like it goes down to E, like T's pretty low, and C's a pass. So if I'm T1, I'm like, oh, cheers.
Well,
Then in context, it's not so great, you know? You okay?
yeah, I'm okay. I was gonna say I think it's a little bit less harsh than the foreign side that just say T7 all the time, referencing that awful season that T1 did have.
Yeah.
Where they placed 7th.
I've seen a lot. I've seen a few different numbers, across the season so far.
Yeah,
I like the Red Wings. The Red Wings is my favorite.
Yeah.
Because anything that references Jin Air just makes me happy.
it's people love T1, but people also love it when T1 fails. Kind of similar to G2, right? Where like the,
Yep.
the fan base is so all-encompassing that when they do bad, people are like,
Same with TSM, right? As
Yeah.
big as a fan base gets, it becomes very frustrating to be around it if you're not one of those fans, right? So whenever you see that team lose, you're like very smug, like, they're pretty quiet today, huh?
Yeah. How has it been in the Korean side of things? Are the Korean fans tolerating T1 not doing so well, or has it been a bit of a mess?
I think it's both. Yeah. Once you read the comments, you kind of get lost in it, so you don't know which side to take.
Yeah, yeah.
It's different every day, so
Yeah. I feel like it's going over like you're going into like the reply tweets on political posts. If you do that in the morning, you're guaranteed to have a bad day. So I do not recommend it. I've done it so many times this month. I don't know why, but it's really put a dampener. So definitely save it until after lunch. After lunch is good. Fill your belly with something delicious, then read the depressing comments where you lose faith in humanity.
or don't read them.
Just don't
Ever?
read the comments, Max. Actually, that's like the solution to life.
Whoa. You've opened a whole new world. I feel like I've just learnt that ignorance is bliss for the first time. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ignorance wasn't bliss until I learnt that, and now it all makes sense. Okay, let's move on to our next one though, because Jeonghyun, I think you've
Yeah.
got a good one.
I got one about the memory, because we have this meme that KT got their memory back versus memory got Hanwha Life Esports back, meaning that KT used to be super good, especially during the summer and in the past, and now that they're pretty solid, we're all saying that okay, KT got their memory back and they're doing better, right? And Hanwha Life Esports.
It's like we're going
They-
back to their bad memories.
Yeah, they've done pretty well during the spring season, but the memory somehow found them, and then now they're back to struggling phases. So yeah.
Does that mean that we're just guaranteed to have a sixth
place Hanwha?
again? Oh no.
I'm feeling it.
I mean, that might be generous at this point. We'll have to see
Wasn't
how
gonna
they
go that far, but
how
yeah.
they end because the beginning has
Yeah.
been kind of lackluster.
That happened to the Viper lineup as well, right? Where they just ended very, very low, and then we lost Viper, and we're all still.
And also we have to
really
remember
sad
that
about
Hanwha Life took the Rocks Tigers spot, who were
yeah,
also
yeah.
after Kuro Gorilla, the Rocks Tigers of old, after they all left and it was just the team name, 6th place every single time. Like they were the benchmark, they were the test. If you could get past the Rocks Tigers, you're always going to make playoffs. It was going to be okay. Because, of course, back then we had 5 teams that made it towards the playoffs instead of now, which is 6 teams, which is pretty cool. But I just think it's so beautiful that the players changed, but the spot is still there. That's where the problem is. You don't buy that slot because you're destined to be 6th. And they've got Deft, they've got Chovy, but maybe this summer season it's going to be 6th place again.
But it's so weird though, because like every other team that Hanwha Life or Hanwha sponsors, they end up struggling.
Yeah, it's been a bit
Yeah.
of a
Yeah,
thing.
that's
Like
a thing like
the
all
baseball
over
team and stuff,
like
yeah.
sport in general. Oh God, I'd forgotten about that.
So I don't know.
I mean,
That's really
like
weird.
KB, so like Live Sandbox, like usually ends up being pretty middling to like high tier. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
maybe that'll end up coming true. If we have the KB kind of sports blessing, maybe they'll actually end up getting into
Maybe
top 4
Sandbox
spot.
have got it right. Like which is the organization that sponsors the best team? Which one's that? Because maybe what Sandbox are going to do is that they'll just bounce between them, and so like now they've got like a 4th place team. It's like next they'll go up, like maybe they'll. I don't know. I haven't watched any other sport. I don't understand that. However,
we don't have any
they might
tire
get the
sponsors
2nd
in the
place
LCK,
one,
so.
and then move up to the 1st place one. That'd be genius.
Yeah. I'm reading a lot of I'm happy comments from Hanwha Life Esports fans. Do you guys know about it?
No, I actually don't know this
makes
meme.
no sense to me.
It goes,
I don't understand.
Like there's gotta be an explanation for that.
they write 나는 행복합니다, right? Which means I'm happy. And it comes from baseball because Hanwha baseball team, they have this song, like an anthem. It goes 나는 행복합니다.
Oh, yeah.
I'm happy because I'm Hanwha fan, right? And
Yeah.
it started out with a good purpose, but then at the end, when the baseball team was actually like ranked in the lowest
It's a bit
of the
dystopian.
table, they're like, you know what? We give up. No matter what happens, we're happy, right? So, and then I think the fans kind of took that, and then now they're writing like, I'm happy in LCK YouTubes.
Oh, okay, so this is completely aside. I don't know whether there's anything about this, but the KT logo, what does the Korean community think about this? Because we have a lot of very strong thoughts, and by we, I mean Wolf. I like the fact that it's like Team Rocket from Pokemon, but
Yeah.
is that in the Korean community as well? Have we got like the Rockstar memes as well? Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna do Grand Theft Auto KT Rolsters situation.
It's basically the same from what I've seen.
Yeah.
A lot of people are mad that it's changed. They don't like it, and then they memed about it looking like Team Rocket, and they said, "Where's the roller coaster?" I've seen some Rockstar memes as well, like people saying like, "Oh, it's the Rockstar logo." I've seen Koreans say that also, even though like Rockstar games not as popular here as it is overseas.
Do we get like the blasting off again comments after the KT games
What's
as
a
well?
blasting off?
So that's the Pokemon thing. So Team Rocket's blasting off again.
That's like the English
I don't
version of
think-
when they like get knocked into
we
the
haven't
sky.
done Yeah.
But we do call them, it's Team Rocket. So other people call it like Team LOLcat, like it's League of Legends.
Oh, and
Cat.
that works in Korean
Yeah,
because
it goes
L and R are the same.
Lolcatan instead of Roketan.
Oh,
Perfect. This is why Korean is the better language.
that's why we're trying to learn.
So,
meme
so much more
potential.
wordplay.
Yeah.
It's great.
I just like to think that UCal is Meowth.
He's still in the hot air balloon, man. He's still over there. He's floating out into nowhere. Oh no.
He's like UCal spent like the entire spring season learning how to walk on two legs, but it didn't matter in the end.
So mean though.
So mean.
Sorry, I don't know. I just have to be real sometimes.
But also, like, to go back to the UCal thing, like, he was the one that brought up the memory meme.
meme.
Like, he was the original memory meme. He's not even included in his own meme anymore. It's so sad. I hope that he does make a comeback, but the problem is Dove's playing really well.
Yeah.
He's been getting set, so maybe take it with a grain of salt, but still, his set looked like one of the
as
better
well.
ones. Yeah.
Looking good.
It's one of those things, some of our veterans that you want to be excited about. Some of the young guns just a little bit too good in that role. So there's another meme as well, Jeonghyun. This is the Nongshim meme. I don't know anything about this one, but I assume it has something to do with Gori coming into the team and
Yeah,
making stuff good.
It's actually like one of the most popular ones. People call him 연결고리. So 고리 means hook or link, and 연결 means like connecting. So he's the connecting
right.
hook or connecting link that brings the team together. So yeah, that kind of shows what kind of influence he has over the team. So
I'm trying to think about this in the context of noodles. What would he be as far as like the ramen ingredient that pulls the whole thing? Is he the spiciness?
he's honestly probably the karu, the powder.
the powder.
Is he the added cheese? Because he wasn't there before, and then you added
Cheese?
yourself, and then it makes
Do you
it
add
way
cheese
better.
to ramen? Really?
No, I don't like that analogy because ramen is fine without cheese.
Yeah, I think it's fine without cheese.
I mean,
yeah.
it's good with cheese, but it's like, this is like, if you have ramyeon without flavor, like if you don't have the powder,
Yeah.
you don't want to eat
I
that.
didn't think this was going to be a controversial opinion.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so tell me about your next. I mean, I'm just to get the debate started early. Like next time you have ramen, just put cheese on it. Don't put the powder in. Let me know what your results are.
No, you still need the powder. That's not what I'm saying.
pasta, yeah.
That's just mac and cheese. That's not. No,
That is,
you
it's
still
just
need
mac
both.
and cheese, and mac and cheese
Just
is
mac and
delicious.
cheese. All right. Okay. I think you and I have
loses its
different opinions on
identity.
this.
It loses its identity. To bring it back to the point of it being an analogy about pulling Nongshim together, Shin Ramyun would not be Shin Ramyun without the powder,
Powder,
being
yeah.
correct.
He really adds the spice into
And it's
the
working.
play, yeah.
That being said,
I was like, what if it was the flakes? I'm like, no.
Little vegetable packet. Definitely don't need that.
Is it the oil for the japaghetti? No. I just like talking about noodles. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I feel like you're in your element. It's like Wolf's found his zone. Here we are, we're talking about noodles. Can we talk about Budae now? Is
Budae.
that going to be the next thing? Perfect.
Maybe for next episode.
Yeah. But speaking of talking about things and yelling at Chronicler, I think it's time to get into some friendly debate. And don't worry, I'm gonna hop over to his side so that it's not like we're all ganging up, which is what it was just before.
Now, as longtime Pog State fans, you know, this mid-tier Mayhem debate is a friendly, unscripted, and no-holds-barred event. So on this side are the pessimists, critical as ever, and on this side are the optimists, finding good in everything bad. Okay, so a disclaimer that this debate does not reflect the opinions of the LCK Global team. And should we get started? Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
All right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, so first topic. Are the spring top 4 just bad? Who wants to go first?
I love the wording of that.
I think Brendan spoke first, so you're going first.
Oh, generally in a debate, if you go first, you're kind of at a disadvantage because this gives some tools for
You're talking
your
time right
enemies.
now.
Oh no, I'm running out of time. Oh, crap. Oh man, are they just bad? Well, it depends on what you talk about when you're talking about the top 4. Because right now in the LCK, everything is kind of falling apart, right? So, what is the top 4? Is it Gen.G, T1 Hama, DRX? It's definitely not Hama and
said
DRX
spring
anymore.
top 4.
Spring top. Oh, okay.
So I'll pick up where Valdes left off.
We'll take it away.
Pick up where Valdes left off.
I'm feeling good about it, chances.
I'm very pessimistic about DRX right now. In fact, I'd go as far as to say they might be the weakest team in summer. I think
They weren't the top 4 in, they were 5th.
They were top 4 for quite some time in spring. They did not end up making top 4 at the end of the standings, but they were top 4 for a lot, especially in the early part of the round robin.
Yeah, but that's not who we're talking about.
All right, so we're gonna talk about the actual top 4. T1, are they just bad? They're very weak right now. They're refusing to make roster swaps, right? We're seeing Kana really underperform on the top side of the map. We're not seeing Zeus come in, even though fans are calling for it. And it's crazy to see T1 reluctant to actually use the deep roster that they have after experimenting with it so much in spring. Why would they just relinquish the fact that they have 2 full lineups worth of players when they are underperforming? What was the experimentation all for if you're just going to sit them on the bench and do nothing, change nothing? I think it's a pretty weak strategy. I think T1, especially of that spring top 4, BAD.
Yeah, and that's fine. But now you're only talking about T1, and T1, while they're having their difficulties at the moment, still have the opportunity to develop, as we've seen them do in the past. They also had a really weak start to the spring split. In addition to that, and what is way bigger, is seeing our mid-tier teams actually be better, because it's easy to go and like, these previous good teams are now losing to bad teams. No, the new teams are actually good. Teams like Sandbox, Afrika, and Nongshim, even though they did have an unfortunate loss yesterday, are looking way stronger as a whole. This comes in addition to a meta that currently is set around early objective control and snowballing. And the teams that actually do that really well have never been our best teams, right? Like we always joke about the LCK. I think this is a really good direction for our league because it means that we're actually going to be ready when the LPL comes and attacks us pre-15 minutes, which we've had difficulties with.
Valdes.
I think that was a little bit off topic, talking about the spring top 4. But, you know, I do think that if we are looking at that top 4, another important name to name is Damwon Kia.
Damwon Kia, yeah, definitely important.
Yeah, and, you know, when
Not
you win
doing so hot.
Worlds, you come in through spring and you dominate. And then you come into summer and you're benching one of your players that actually helped you carry in Worlds. It is a little bit worrying. And at first, you know, they were kind of dominating the weaker teams, but now it's just like people are just left scratching their heads like, how long is this going to last? How many losses are you going to take as our, you know, the LCK's strongest team? And, you know, how long is Canyon going to be forced to play Akali?
How long is
obviously
Mom taking Smite as AD carry?
Yeah. True. Good point. Good point. Great. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, you know, keeping Canyon out of the jungle and bringing Malrang in. We saw he's very much coin flippy. It was flipping heads for a little bit, but now I think the weaknesses are becoming very glaring. And if they don't change something, I'm getting worried about Damwon Kia as well.
Okay, Atlas, it's your turn.
Are the top 4 teams in the LCK bad? I'm an optimist, but based on where I'm sitting, not necessarily based on what I actually feel. The disclaimer has already been shown, and I want that to be reread
topic.
again. Thank you so much, Ian,
what's your
for
argument
placing-
here?
My argument is that the top 4 teams are not bad. They are in fact well deserving of their place here in the LCK, and if we've learnt anything from elsewhere in the world, worldwide, we've seen top teams, our MSI champions included in RNG, really topple from their thrones. And I think you do need to go back to requirements for human beings, and that is to have some time off. I think round 1 in the summer season is that time.
It's a competition. There's no for fun games.
This is my turn to speak! Shut up, please, God! I'm trying to be optimistic here, as you can hear.
You're doing a great job, buddy. Come on, keep going.
Mad Lions also struggling just a little bit, but it's fine. We know that these teams can turn things around, and I think the same can be said for our previous top 4 teams in the LCK outside of Harmon Life Esports.
Okay.
I'm only half the top teams from Spring are in the top 4 right now. We don't know, even know if they're
I am in
gonna stay
agreement
there.
with what Max finished his statement with. Yes.
Okay, closing statement.
Wrong. Not true. Two of the 4 teams of the top 4 for Spring are not in the top 4, and one of the teams that are in top 4 right now might not be in top 4 after a few more weeks of play. So I don't know.
The way you started that, have you ever considered US politics?
Just a side note. No, I think that we will see that these teams will actually bounce back. I think in the case of Hanwha Life, it might be really hard, but T1, Gen.G, Damwon Kia are going to be just fine when playoffs run around, and they're going to do as well as they have in the past.
Okay. That is all the time we have for this question. Moving on to the next topic, which is LCK a weaker region than it was in the spring? Yikes. Let's start with this side.
I can, if you want me to take it, I can take it.
No, I can do this. This is a challenge.
Okay.
I mean, this isn't a challenge. This is easy because obviously the LCK is not a weaker region than it was in spring.
I think it's better to argue that we are, but we will be better because we are weaker.
You're not my dad. I know how to do an
but
argument
It's not very
myself.
optimistic to me.
What do you mean?
I can do it, okay?
I believe in you.
No, you don't.
Yes,
You're
I
trying
do.
to- We've wasted half of our time just bickering like little schoolgirls.
On to the pessimist side.
So anyway, Damwon Kia doesn't even have a full roster. We don't know what roster they're going to play next week. We have no idea. T1 can't figure it out. Even though Danny said they figured it out. This is the roster. We're going to be playing the roster that succeeded in playoffs for spring, that got us to the playoffs for spring. He said this is it. But clearly, it's not it. Kanda's not playing well. Even Faker's had some late-game decision-making problems. We're not seeing it happen. Chovy trying to carry a Hanwha Life Esports that's floundering right now. And I'm looking at it thinking, is LCK as strong as it was in spring? Absolutely not. I mean, do you think that the Damwon Kia we're watching right now would beat RNG or a top LPL team at Worlds? I don't think so.
I think more important is you're talking about right now, and right now I'd agree with you. I think that the LCK has become a little bit weaker, but it also has to do with, as we already pointed out, the fact that the meta has become so binary. Every good team is losing to random teams. LNG, who've been undefeated in the LPL, almost lost to the number 17 team, right? Like Tarzan and his buddies almost got clapped by Thundertalk Gaming, and that should never happen. And I think that's kind of something that Max already pointed out earlier on, where like the current, what's currently happening, what's currently happening within the whole global league scene is that everything is volatile. However, what we are seeing is that early game teams are doing a lot better, and if our teams, which I think will happen, like Damwon and Gen.G, really start playing up to their strength after getting rigorously tested by teams like Afrika and Liv Sandbox who actually play early game, our chances at Summer or at Worlds rather are going to be way better than they were at Spring, because we already talked about Damwon's weaknesses at Spring, and even though they weren't punished, it didn't mean they weren't there. Now they're punished, now they're
Moderator
exposed.
time.
And I think it's going to be
I
better.
like how it's backed up by facts and examples. So yeah.
So you want to add on to that as well?
allowing it because it's a
Yeah.
good argument. You guys could take some notes.
I mean, look, yeah, you can say that the meta is volatile, and we are seeing upsets, and we're seeing upsets around the world, and sure, that's all fine and good. But overall, despite the upsets, we have a team, Damwon Kia, who doesn't even know if the AD carry they used to make a MSI finals and they used to win Worlds finals isn't even being played. They're playing Showmakers, a mid laner, in the bottom lane. These sorts of examples show that regardless of meta, one of our best teams is extremely weaker than it was before, because it's not even the same team. It's not the same team that performed well at MSI, right? The team that we trusted might actually take home a second trophy for Korea didn't happen. And I'm looking at that and I go, well, Gen.G is number 1, but how tested are they really? Because they're playing against our bottom 4 teams, winning a lot of games. But I don't trust that Gen.G is going to be the team that's going to carry the torch because they haven't made any changes. Yeah, they look consistent, but they're not going to go and perform internationally. They haven't, historically speaking, when they do get internationally. So I'm feeling like LCK a little bit weaker than spring season. I think we have to accept it.
Okay, Atlas, want to say?
Yes.
something?
So, thank you very much, Jeonghyun, for coming in there. I think that there have been some assumptions made on the pessimism side of the table here, and one of those assumptions is that Damwon Kia is now worse without Ghost, and I would challenge that. I would say
Interesting idea.
I would.
Don't talk.
You don't. It's my time. Once again, it's my time. I would say that Canyon has proven that he is the best Rise that we have in the LCK.
Better than Chovy, that's for sure.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it. Khan hasn't played Rise yet, but
Not
that
this
only
split.
adds a string to their bow, Valdes. Thank you very much for augmenting my argument, because, of course, that means that they can flex that Rise around. They're experimenting with champion pools, and this is something that Koma has gone on record saying. The reason why they've made these substitutions is so that they can expand the amount of roles that they can put all sorts of different champions in, just to add to the amount of flexibility and versatility of Damwon Kia, therefore making the team better than they were before, and thus me winning the argument.
What do you say to that, Valdes?
I mean, just
It was so good till that ending, Max. Why did you have your own windows?
You know, LCK as a region as well also oftentimes gets compared to the LPL. And coming into this one, yeah, I mean, you might see singular teams not really performing well, like RNG, but I think as a region, even going into MSI, LPL were the stronger region, as we did see. Their strongest team were able to take us down. The one thing is that I think at the top of the table, their teams were just a little bit stronger, and they have better teamwork overall, and, you know, they've kind of kept their rosters together, and they're looking strong going into Worlds. And this is really important. Yes, we're here in the first split, but it's summer. You know, we're getting down to the wire here, and we have T1, their teamwork doesn't really look on par. Their team fighting is some of the worst, actually, I've seen from a good team in the LCK.
He's not the wrong man.
Right now in this meta, as Chronicler was talking about, it's a lot about like trust falls and all going in at the same time and just being on the same page. But Damwon with the roster swaps not really having that. Hama Life, don't even get me started. I mean, like, are they a team or is it really just Chovy and the boys? And even he is kind of making questionable decisions in team fights. The team fighting is not there from the top LCK teams, where I think it is from other regions. And yes, the middle of the pack teams are getting wins because they're able to, you know, have trust falls, and everybody picks Diana and Set and just jumps into the backline, Nocturne and Rumble.
Buys stopwatches, am I right?
Yeah, and they press all their buttons and they're able to get wins, but that doesn't instill confidence in those teams for me either. So I think the top of the table teams are falling down, and then the mid teams are getting wins where maybe they don't deserve it, which doesn't exactly instill confidence in their strength either. So as a region, it just feels like everything's kind of coming down a level.
Yeah, I mean, we saw just yesterday our 4-1 teams. You know, the teams we were getting excited about. The bottom four teams, they're looking really good.
Was it Wolf's turn?
They're looking really good.
Also, Wolf, that was against
and we saw a loss for Africa. We saw a loss for
against
yesterday.
Gen.G.
I think we should have just kept it as what
Yeah, I
Brendan
think
said,
Valdes
because
had a great
I was ready
ending.
to concede the argument, actually,
Make it
after
shut
that.
up, John.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad. with that
Okay,
ending.
well, I want to go home, so
real.
thank you for your opinion. But that is that. Let me know what you guys think in comments down below, and that is it. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you so
We
much.
won, by the way. Thank you.
And now it's time for the moment that you've all been waiting for. It is Pog Snacks once again. We had it last episode and we brought it back because we just like eating, obviously. And look at our cool napkins as well that I only have. I don't know why it's just me, but there we go. Get them on there. It's LCK napkins. I'm going to take it away because it's going to fall anyway. But very excited. Jeonghyun has actually come in with a bit of a gift for us where we're going to try, what is this, the drug sausage?
Yeah. Bayak
The
hotdog.
drug sausage.
The drug sausage.
Where did this originate? What is the drug sausage?
Mayak is basically the word for drugs in Korea that are not like used for medicinal purposes. So it's really common to use mayak in any term of food, is basically meaning that it's addictive, that it's amazing, that once you eat it, you're gonna want to keep eating it. So there's a lot of different types of hot dogs in Korea, and when you hear hot dog, you usually think about like a hot dog itself if you're a Westerner, but in Korea, hotdog is actually like what we call a corn dog in America. So that's what mayak hot dog is. It's an addicting hot dog that you're gonna eat, and it's covered with toppings. Like, as you can see, there's lots of various ones.
It's good, isn't it?
So I like it because it's a corn dog with sugar on it.
What the hell? There's no sausage in here.
Mine is
do you
just
have in there?
cheese.
I like the promised sausage.
There's no sausage.
Oh yeah.
That's
mine-
There's a
amazing.
fake sausage at the bottom, but there's no actual sausage in the middle.
All right, to wash this down though, I did bring my favorite drink, my favorite Korean drink, which is called Sujeongwa, which you can read on the bottom there. I actually just looked this up today. I believe birak in Hanja is like to enjoy getting fat. That's actually the meaning, which I wish I didn't find out because I really like this drink. But what it is dried persimmons and water mixed. That's kind of the mixture of the drink with a lot of cinnamon flavor in it. So I actually don't like persimmons, but I really like this drink. So I first had it when I was quarantined, actually after returning from the States, after Korea had a 2-week quarantine, and I had to do it in the facility at the time. So I didn't have a lot of drinks, and this one came in with one of my meals, and so I was like, you know what, I'll just give it a shot, and I'm really glad I did because it ended up being one of my favorite drinks. It originally was used in the winter, like people would drink it a lot in the winter, but nowadays I like drinking it in the summer. Yeah.
It smells like what's the cinnamon gum? What is it? Big Red or something?
Yeah, Big Red.
Just smells like that.
That was my first impression when I tasted it. Is that it tastes kind of
Can
like
we
that.
drink
Try
it?
it. Yeah, get in there.
All right.
Oh, I was expecting it to be fizzy.
Whoa.
No.
Okay, so this is
It's just Big Red.
yeah. So
Liquid.
It's
Big
Big
Red.
Red.
We have an
what it is.
authentic Dutch like carnival snack that is called a cinnamon stick, and it is, as you'd expect, just like this big, and it's just it's just cinnamon.
Do you guys like the cinnamon drink, the Sujeongwa?
It's delicious.
It's pretty good. I think the cinnamony flavor is kind of overpowering, and once Max said Big Red, I can't get it off of my mind. Now-
That's all we have time for, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, for the Pog State for episode 2. Thank you so much, Jeonghyun, for coming on to our second episode. Hopefully, you'll be with us in the future as well. But for now, that is going to be it. Make sure that you let us know who won the debate. Very important. Of course, none of our opinions really matter. It's you that matters. You can do that in the comment section of the YouTube video. Make sure you leave us a like and all of that cool stuff as well. Whichever stuff you can do to help support the Pog State will, in fact, be supporting us, and that feels great. But that's all we have time for. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.